we're going to start off on a very, very light note. And I mean a really light note, because this is just a delightful story. New Hampshire may have mattered for Biden after all. DNC Chair Jamie Harrison suggested he's open to finding a way to seat New Hampshire delegates at summer convention. So if you remember...
This is really, it's like the feel-good Pixar Disney movie of the election season. Like, I feel like there should be an animated cricket announcing...
yeah.
But hang on, there's got to be a way to count all the delegates. And you have like some salt of the earth family with like a nerdy, smart little girl outcast who really wants the delegates counted from New Hampshire.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because Jamie Harrison, when I think of Jamie Harrison, I'm reminded of the animated cricket. And then when I think of Joe Biden, I think of the wise grasshopper. You know, right. Advanced in years, not as nimble as he once was. You know, this is the Thomas Friedman school of podcasting now. You just have to think of a way to compare all these notable figures to animals and insects.
And any who would challenge them are like the droppings in the grass.
Yeah, right. Like the rotten guava on the jungle floor.
That's
yes, indeed. So Jamie Harrison now saying he's going to find a way to count the New Hampshire delegates after all. So if you remember that New Hampshire primary that I went out and risked hypothermia to cover was just a scrimmage. That was just for bragging rights. It was just for momentum.
It's shrinkage.
Exactly. Because the DNC moved the first in the nation primary from New Hampshire to South Carolina, which happened on Saturday, by the way, and Joe Biden squeaked it out 96-2. 96 for Joe, 2 each for Marianne and Doug Phillips. Dean Phillips,
now,
not Doug. I call him Doug Phillips because he looks like Doug Funny. The guy looks like Doug Funny, the cartoon character. So I always think of him as Doug Phillips, but Dean Phillips.
Now I kind of feel bad. I feel like we really should have followed Crystal and Kyle's lead, because we could have really tipped that election towards Marianne.
Yeah. She just barely, just a couple breaks went her way, and she may have cracked that 5% threshold in South Carolina. So anyway, Biden wins South Carolina, and New Hampshire went first, but they were going to get penalized for going first. Their delegates were not going to count. Since Biden not only won South Carolina by a lot, but he also won New Hampshire by a lot, even though he boycotted the race. He won as a write-in. Now, New Hampshire's Democratic presidential primary may end up counting after all. Let's see why. DNC Chair Jamie Harrison suggested on Saturday that he's open to finding a way to seat New Hampshire's delegates at this summer's nominating convention after President Joe Biden won the state's unsanctioned primary last month. Doing so would be a remarkable but not unprecedented about-face for the DNC, which stripped the Granite State of its favored position on the nominating calendar, elevating South Carolina to the leadoff spot for this cycle at Biden's request. The change prompted a bitter intra-party feud, but if New Hampshire's delegates are seated come summer, the state might have the venerable South Carolina Representative Jim Clyburn to thank for it. This gets hilarious. Minutes after Biden was projected to win South Carolina's primary on Saturday, Clyburn, standing beside Harrison at a watch party there, called on the DNC to seat New Hampshire's delegates, citing the New Hampshire law requiring the state to hold its primary a week before any similar contest. Quote, "I believe, Jamie, that it's time for us to ask our Rules Committee not to hold the state law in New Hampshire against our Democrats," Clyburn said. "They worked hard and they won a victory," meaning Biden. "And I would like to see, as a sign of us all coming together, let the Rules Committee figure out a way." Harrison shook Clyburn's hand. "When the boss speaks," Harrison said, laughing, "we'll have to work on that, Congressman." So this is the party of democracy, folks. James Clyburn decides whether the votes count or not. If James Clyburn says they count, well, you're the boss. If he says, no, they don't count, well, you're the boss. That's called democracy. Democracy is when James Clyburn gets to decide, based on the outcome, whether or not he wants to count the votes. Because if Biden lost, they wouldn't have wanted to count those votes. They wouldn't have wanted to seat those delegates. But since Biden won, and now he won South Carolina, James Clyburn says, he gives the thumbs up, right? right? Like the emperor. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Sure, count them. Why not? Clyburn, not alone, though. Kathy Sullivan, a longtime New Hampshire Democratic operative who helmed the super PAC that aided the Biden write-in effort, predicted Clyburn's support will carry a lot of weight with the DNC. Half the New Hampshire delegates elected so far are young people, and they are really looking forward to going to the convention, Sullivan said. Jim Demers, another New Hampshire-based Democratic operative who helped lead the Biden write-in effort there, expressed gratitude for Clyburn's support. Quote, New Hampshire and South Carolina voters have demonstrated significant unity and support for President Biden's reelection, and I hope the DNC will recognize that by seating our delegates. Can you believe that quote? Hey, we voted how we were supposed to, so you should count our votes. Can you believe that? Can you believe that the party of democracy is deciding after the fact, after the results are in, based on the results, hey, you know what? The right guy won, so let's count the votes. Unbelievable. And this guy say, hey, listen, we voted for Biden, so come on, count them. We did the right thing. It's not like we voted for another candidate. If we voted for Marianne, sure, throw them out. If they voted for Philip, sure, throw them out. No, we did what we were supposed to do. We fell in line. Now count the votes. Please, Clyburn. Okay, yay. That's democracy, folks. That's the party of democracy.
It's just amazing because if you just look at the media side of it, of the way that that's reported, what is that, Politico?
Yeah.
Is that Politico?
From the very first sentence. I know what point you're trying to make. From the very first sentence, you could see the tone. DNC Chair Jamie Harrison suggested on Saturday that he's open to finding a way to seat New Hampshire's delegates at this summer's convention after President Biden won the state's unsanctioned primary last month. Like, beginning of sentence, end of sentence, they match. One thing leads to the other, right? They're thinking of seating them since Joe Biden won.
Right. Well, and just also the whole approving, kind of warm and fuzzy tone of it. When the boss says
he's the
boss, and
he can count the votes if he wants or not.
People who
He's
take
the boss.
the Democratic Party seriously,
oh my God,
will read something like that and they'll get the warm and fuzzies.
Oh,
this is why when you tell them James Clyburn is a fucking criminal in the pocket of the insurance companies, it's what you call the cat stare. Your phrase, the cat stare. They do not even. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I'm blurry.
What's going on with you?
Why am I blurry? There we go.
Why did you freaking?
Because I told you.
I told you.
When
you're done with the OnlyFans shoot, take the Vaseline off the lens.
It's probably because I shaved.
You got to wipe it down.
Yeah.
You got to wipe it down after that.
I'll lower my light.
Yeah, no, this is why when you talk to a Democrat, their whole worldview is defined by this kind of media that they have been conditioned to believe is news, is actual news and journalism. And they're just completely programmed. When do you see an article about the conditions in James Clyburn's district? When do you see an article about that? James Clyburn is a leader of the black Democrats, and therefore he is moral. That's as far as their political consciousness goes.
His district is miserably poor. We interviewed Marcel Dixon, who ran against him.
Yep.
We've interviewed Marcel a few times, but the first time we interviewed it, we did kind of a deep dive on it. I think it's top 10 poorest districts in the entire country. I know that. I don't remember where it ranked exactly. But yeah, the fact that this guy is this kingmaker, yeah.
Right, he's such a powerful Democrat. Why is his district a shithole?
He rakes in pharma money while his district is miserably poor. You have food deserts throughout his district, housing insecurity throughout his district, a horrible standard of living.
Many years he takes more money from the health insurance industry than any other member of Congress.
Yep. Yeah.
So all these people, as I tried to explain to Dennis Kucinich, these people belong in fucking prison. Dennis didn't agree, but we'll talk about that more later.
We will get to that later. And, look, not that I have any love for Marianne or Dean Phillips, but Marianne was nicer to me than Phillips was. I'll give her that much. But imagine working on that campaign.
In spite of her attempt to play on regional pride in a really cheesy fucking
Hey, at least she let me talk. At least she let me get a point. She
did let you talk. At least she didn't go all fucking Jaws like she did with Marcel.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's not fair. You work on a campaign like that thinking it's a scrimmage, thinking that, the stakes are here, and then you find out after the fact they're going to count the votes anyway. It's just a joke. I mean, it's an absolute joke.
Well, the whole thing. I mean, you can just see what a farce of democracy it is. They went into a court and said, we are under no obligation basically to follow any rules.
Right.
We're a private club. We could fucking throw a rock out the window, hit a guy, and make him the nominee, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
So that's how you get this.
Right.
Sure. And even the way it's framed in the article is as if there's some kind of rules and process, but there aren't really. I mean, what's the rules and process? Some fucking insiders on a committee decide that, oh yeah, okay, magic wand, now they count.
Now they count.
What is that? What is that? That's a healthy functioning democracy.
He says it right there. Jamie Harrison says it right there. Harrison shook Clyburn's hand. When the boss speaks, we'll have to work on that. It's up to Clyburn. Clyburn tells Harrison. Harrison tells his people. Boom, now they count.
Well, there's why I say if you kowtow to these people, you respect these people, you admire these people, you give any deference to these people, you are a fucking peasant. You are a fucking peasant. You're a pissant. That's what they think of you.
Please clap.